Hello Twin Flames, this is Victoria and I'm here with your daily energy check. Today, as you know, is the All Saints Day, and I decided that for our additional question, that usual tool from Tarot, we're going to do specifically messages from the ancestors for divine feminines and divine masculines respectively. This is a special time, and if you have a chance, please take a moment today to appreciate the legacy, what they've passed on to you. Show your love and compassion in whichever way you can, and just acknowledge, basically. You can only imagine what they've been through, and probably you know some stories. For other stories, sorry guys, I'm just shuffling the decks. Other stories you don't necessarily know, but you can imagine that the times they lived in, the places they've been to, things they had to deal with, those were pretty challenging questions. And not just for being happy, for thriving, but also for just surviving, right? So it's important to acknowledge them today and say a few nice words. Okay, so let's start with an oracle card, as always. Let's see what we have for the feminines. Wandering Circus. I will read the message. I haven't gotten this card for a very long time. Independence is key now as you step into your journey today. Others may not have the vision or resources that you need. Recognize that all the wisdom you've acquired along the way makes you particularly competent, capable of moving forward with assurance. Self-reliance is important. Another aspect to consider is creating and maintaining clear boundaries between you and another. Be discerning about your partnerships at this time. When you know who you are and have a healthy sense of where you end and others begin, you are able to enter into the best kind of relationships and will attract people who mirror back your wholeness. Interdependent relationships are always mutually supportive, stimulating, and transformative. You can achieve anything at this time. Beautiful. I love this so much. So essentially the structure with the person on top means that, yeah, there's a lot going on. It may seem scary, complicated. It may seem like you're kind of on your own, but it's exactly how it's supposed to be. That's how you're supposed to complete this mission. You know, like if you're playing an online game, and I'm not a gamer, you have on different levels, you're supposed to use different skills, strengths, and different modes of play, I guess, are possible, right? And it's specified to you. And even if you're working as part of the team, there would be some missions that you're supposed to complete on your own. So this is one of those times. Wow, and for masculines, number 16, rescue. So this was 15. This is 16. Let's see. Asking for help isn't easy for many successful people. However, that's what you need to do as you expand your life. If you find yourself troubled, you can expect help with whatever issues at hand now. You need only ask, and assistance will come your way. The most important support you can expect is from Spirit. Get into a right relationship with the divine, and you'll see that many conditions line up as if by magic to provide you with all the help you need. Ask and you will receive. There is no need to fear. Safety is a place within. So it's like asking somebody for rescue. See how different these energies are? And to me, this is the feminine is stepping, or kind of like embracing more of a masculine vibe of like achieving things on their own, right? Embracing the power. For feminines, or for masculines, it's almost the opposite way, right? Asking for help, relying on somebody else, right? Surrendering. Understanding, the first step is like surrendering, understanding that you need someone's help to get where you want to get. Okay, so today I've got Souls on Fire deck, so let's see. 3 questions as always, but one of them is, the second one is going to be a message from the ancestors for each. And of course, feelings towards each other at this time. It's more thoughts, really. I'm being corrected. It's conscious mind, right? Five of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Interesting. Wanting to do something in secrecy so that others don't know what's really going on. You may have good intentions, you know, but it's more like, oh, wow, cards are flying today. Does the cause justify the means? That's what I wanted to say. Okay. Bottom of the deck here, another Five of Swords. Look at that. Wow. It's also going within as opposed to outwards to recognize what's not being true, like where you're not true to yourself, that kind of idea. There's one deck that I own where Five of Swords is a card of inner child healing. So again, you know, like connection really, really deep within and like acknowledging the needs of your inner child and how does it match or mismatch the reality. Okay, so for the feminines, the energies, we have the moon clarified by the death in reverse. I must admit that the death was a card that was like flying around, so it was kind of flipping back and forth, but still. Again, the moon was the full moon that we just experienced a few days ago, right? And I'm getting that the death card is in reverse because the feminine is now acknowledging past transformations. So maybe it's not something that's happening right now or will be happening soon, but it's something that happened before. And it's like acknowledging what lessons you learned at certain points in time. And of course, you will know which ones. You may be thinking of something that happened 5 years ago, 2 years ago, especially since we were closing the 2-year cycle with this full moon, with this eclipse. And suddenly it just clicks and you know exactly what it was all for. You know, like we're relying, if we're in a difficult situation, that it's all God sent and maybe we just don't know the reason right now, but it will be shown to you at some point. So this is like that point where you're being shown why or what have you accomplished, how far you've come because of that experience and what you've been through. And of course with the moon we can imagine that it has to do with some emotional turmoil, with certain shifts and insights, probably some painful experiences. On masculines, we have Ace of Swords clarified by Seven of Cups. So the masculines are actually seeing the choices I'm getting. You know, like sometimes you're making a decision, you're like, I have no choice, like I have to do this. I wish I didn't have to, but it looks like it's the only way. So now there is a recognition that there is more than one way. And it's not like only one way is right and true, right? Like it has different aspects to it, right? Like pros and cons, basically, depending on where you go, how you turn there, right? And the masculines are being taught through this experience, they're taught that inner discernment. How do I decide if it's not obvious? And also, how do I take accountability for my choices? Where I don't just go like, yeah, I have to do this, right? It's like I'm choosing to go this way because, and I know why. Message from the ancestors for the feminine. Four of Swords clarified by Eight of Wands. Wow, that's literally messages. Download, right? During the meditation, during sleep. So be very mindful and attentive to what's happening when you're at rest, like moments when you're going to sleep, when you're waking up, any dreams you see, write those down, any concepts, ideas, memories. That's important. There is a message there somewhere that your ancestors are trying to get to you right now. And it's powerful and it's necessary with this landscape and some mountain afar. I'm sensing that in order to get that far, you need that message. And for some, it will be a message of support, just so that you remember how great you are, how powerful you are. For others, it's almost like a manual, so they'll give you some steps, they'll give you some insight from the future, so you understand how to act right now. For masculines, the message from the ancestors is Three of Wands clarified by the Strengths. So for masculines, guess what? They need to be strong, like emotionally, to have that stamina to go for big things, for strong things. You see how big the wands are compared to the person. It's probably not easy to hold those, especially if you're trying to hold on to all three, right? But it's important to make that statement that you're going for something big, that you're not afraid, that you're not going to be okay with some mediocre results or progress, right? This needs to be energetically expressed, and of course needs to be expressed in intentions. In a couple of weeks we'll have the new moon, and that will be perfect time. Actually it's perfect time to, as we are approaching that time, to be very conscious and very specific about those goals, right? And yeah, it's a different question for how do you manifest, how do you manifest exactly what you want without being too tied up to specifics of how it's supposed to happen, right? Like, so you're not really manifesting how, you're manifesting what is my goal, why am I doing this, and the how is for the universe to figure out and to support you with. So it's like a reminder from the ancestors of your greatness and recognition of that. You need to approach this as a lion, you know, as that royalty in the animal kingdom. Feelings from feminines to masculines. 7 of Pentacles clarified by Page of Pentacles, essentially 8, right? So the feminines realize that some work needs to be done in the connection when it comes to future plans, when it comes to having some sort of good idea where this is going, and also in communicating clearly and with kindness. The Page of Pentacles here. But this is gonna take time, but the feminine is basically saying, I see that you are planning and I have a lot going on, so I'm basically in that preparation stage. The feminines recognize that and they choose to focus on their space and what they can do to prepare for the next stage in the connection. Masculines to feminines. Knight of Swords clarified by 6 of Wands. And the masculines want to communicate and they want to be victorious with that. They want to be so clear that they deliver the message of what exactly they want to say, how they feel, you know, that nuance gets delivered, that it comes across. And right now they are learning how to do that. So right now they don't quite know, but they are willing to try, right? To try hard or try something different than what they did before. Because they realized that as much as they may have had good intentions, it didn't come across that way, right? Or they couldn't show how important this connection was to them, right? And they want to set the record straight. That's the sword here, right? To get the truth out. This is still a very kind of logical night, right? So it's probably not going to be too lovey-dovey, but it's definitely going to be specific, something that makes sense, that's straightforward, without beating around the bush, without for feminine having to read between the lines. Like, this is supposed to be very clear and specific, that whoever is hearing that message is gonna understand. That's a message of love. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave you here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you all, and I'll be back with more readings very, very soon.